Hello everyone, today I'd like to discuss the subject of braid generation in Maya using XGen. Recently, I've been working on a metahuman child character, and when it came to making the hairstyle for her, I decided to go with something like this. And it appeared that there is no out-of-the-box solution for this in default XGen toolkit. So I searched online. I didn't find anything sufficient enough for me. So I've developed my own way, and today I'd like to share some key points from it. This is not a tutorial, so um, let me just share some of my experience with you. The technologies that I've used were Maya, XGen, Houdini, Python, PyQt for interfaces, and Maya API for custom context tools. What kind of problems did I encounter? There are guide curves, generation of initial guide curves in quick and easy way. The support curves that add some volume to the strokes. So this blue one is a guide, which is central curve, and the cyan ones are like the ones that give volume and keep the stroke together. The next one was orientation along the head, since the head is not a plane. It has curvature, so this whole setup should rotate with it. And then there were the roots, like these guides, and filler curves, which would fill up the blank spaces, so the XGen would know where to go from anywhere. And the last one was making region and density maps, which is quite a subject as well, since sometimes when I try to paint a region map by hand, it may take quite some time, more than I'm comfortable with. So let's get to it. Jumping straight into Maya, as you can see here, I have the semi-final result. Here are two braids and the roots, and a separation between the regions, and also some noisy hair on the side. Let's see how I've done this. So there's some ways of making braids. For example, here's one that I've tried. I've just created like this template, just 3 curves, and here's a curve that would drive them in the middle, and here's the target curve on the head. So what I've done, I made a blend shape between these curves, and I used the wire deformer to position them. So if we apply the blend shape right here, but as you can see, there's a few problems. The first one, the curves don't really have normals, so as it deformed, it broke towards the end right here, and also it doesn't consider normal of the mesh right here. So this braid is not really oriented to the head as I planned. So this way didn't work for me. That's why I've developed this small tool set. which would allow me to generate braids straight away. For this, I need to select the mesh, select the width of the braid, the height fraction, and the volume spread. Volume is how thick the support curve should be. So, for example, if I would set it to 0, there would be no support. And if I click Generate Braid, I would get only this central guidelines. So there's also coil length. If you check this image, these coils are quite large, so I guess something around 5 centimeters would do just fine. And the tapering at the end. So let's try generate something. So as you can see here, we have the main guidelines, and now let's add some support curves. And now we have something that already looks like braids. So at this point, what I would do, I would check if these sections don't intersect too much. For this, I would move just a little bit some of these curves. It's not completely necessary, but I found that not placing these guides too close is better. And maybe I'd fix some of these intersections here, or maybe not. Let's not. The next task I need to do is to generate these root guides right here. So it would look like the braid is growing along the head. So coming back to Maya, let me select my toolkit. I'll pick my driver curve and click generate roots just to see what it gives me. I think it's quite okay. It's spread along the curve quite nicely. So I'll do a few layers of it. For this, the main parameter is width, which would define the radius of the root circle. So generate. Here we have some initial roots, changing the suffix, going a little bit wider, and generate roots. And just a few more layers. Generate roots. And I think I'll do one more. Generate roots. Yeah, it looks like this spider grabbing the head. So what I'm gonna do now is just to see if there's any intersections. If so, I'll delete the excessive ones. I think this is a good starting point for our roots. However, let's take a look further. So let's duplicate all of this. Control D. And let's mirror it. And what I need to do next is to rename everything to the right. Okay. So currently we have two sides mirrored, the braid guides and the root guides. What's next is to fill up this empty space with curves. So we would have some extra guides to drive the hair towards the braids. For that, I've developed a small plugin. Currently, it's a single tool which would create the curves based on selected mesh and on the closest curve that it has. So how it works? I just click somewhere and I drag. It considers the click point and the end point and takes the closest point on mesh from the click point and takes the end point of the closest curve when I release the mouse. So here it is. Again. If I, for example, want to go from here to here, I would just drag here. So something like this. Let me just create all these guide curves and we'll go to the next section. The final task in this preparation stage is to create the maps, region map and density maps. Region map looks like this. It's just color differentiation between zones, so XGen would know which guys to follow at each point. You can paint it manually, but for a large setup like this, it may take a few hours to do that properly. So to make it easier, I use Houdini for that. Here I have a preset scene, which includes the head mesh with the UVs on it and an Alembic file with our curves. First of all, let's export all these curves as Alembic. Cache, Alembic, export selection, hair demo, ABC. The process right, okay. So let's call it init hair guides. I'll jump into Houdini and pick this file. So here they are, these curves. Make sure that in your Alembic node, this add pass attribute is active. What it does, basically, it copies these Maya hierarchies to this attribute in Houdini. And this is how we're going to differentiate between these groups. So first of all, I make a attribute wrangler on primitives because Houdini, for some reason, doesn't read this attribute as string. It reads it as integer or float. I don't remember. So I manually convert it to string, and I truncate everything except this first part of the group. Then I unpack it and promote this ID attribute from primitive to points. I resample to get this curve U value. Here it is, and using this hair U value, I delete everything but the first point, everything that's larger than 0. About the head, I subdivide it enough times to make enough resolution to generate the color map and transfer this ID attribute from those points to these primitives. And I use an attribute promote from currently it's on points. I use attribute promote to put it on primitives. Why this is important is because this way I get really crisp texture right here. No anti-aliasing at all. So, for example, if I skip this step, I use the default points and I won't promote. As we can see here, we have a blurry line between the edges. So this way it's very crispy, and this is what XGen needs. It actually doesn't understand where to go when this line is not absolute. So this way it will produce some bugs. Anyway, so here we have the region map. And we will bake it. And the other one is the IDs for the density map. So what that means, I have another runner right here, and I add a type attribute, which is basically separates braids from roots based on this ID attribute. So here's the color, and also I have a spread value here to see how far I need this to spread. And this area is gonna be for the braids, and this pink area is gonna be for the roots. Okay, so let's bake the maps and come back later. Here I opened the generated maps in Photoshop that were made in Houdini. So this is the basic density maps, and this is a region map. As for the region map, what I would do here is just to check if there's any close colors bordering each other, like this lighter blue and darker blue. XGen may not recognize it. So I would fix it right here. Magic wand tool, disable anti-alias, and select this down, and I would just pick the furthest color I can think of, like this, and maybe also I would fix this one, make it green. And as for the density maps, I took this density map for this head that I already have, and picking colors from these maps, I created two masks. So, for example, this one would be density for the braids, and this one would be the density for the roots. Okay, so let's take a look at them in Maya. I already imported it. Let's assign a surface shader. Look at the texture. This is the default density. Let's see the region. So here is the region map. And let's remove autoload. Braids density and roots density. Okay, I think it's fine. So let's see if we have enough CVs on these curves to generate the guides. Here's fine. And as for the roots, currently it's pretty low res, so I would resample it. Let's make something like 12. Rebuild. Not exactly what I'm looking for, so Control Z. Let's make first using the CVs to make it just smoother. Build. Yeah, it's better now. And one more time, this time using the parameter. Rebuild. Okay, so I think now it's gonna do just fine. Now let's try creating some hair and see what we get. So selecting the mesh, create interactive group splines. Let's call it braids. CV count. Let's see how much spans we have here. 54. So let's go with 54 as a starting point. So again, mesh, create interactive group splines. 54. Let's go to 60. 60 braids. Create. And let's do another one. Create interactive group splines. Roots. And for roots we know it's 12, so the degree is 3, so it's going to be something like 15. Okay, let's hide. Well, you know what? Let's first apply the density maps. For roots, it's roots density, and for braids, in braids density. So here is a hair for braids, and here is a hair for roots. Okay, now for the roots we need to create a guide modifier and select all the root curves. Use selected curves as guides. Apply. Here are the guides. And same here for the braids, right? select all the curves for braids and use curves. Okay, now we can hide our curves. And let's see what we got. So let's make the density something like 250. And it's already taking some shape, but we can make it better by using region map. Region map, use region map. And let's increase this number a little bit more, 500. Yeah, I think it's a good starting point. What also we can do, create a clump. So here we can use control map as well, region map. And for the clump scale, let's make something like this, 0.5 and 45, and here and 45, and we can make this one smooth. And as for the roots, again, let's increase the density, let's say 200, and use a region map. Sometimes it happens. This means that there is not enough guides. You can add guides manually and interpolate them, or also we can add some blending number a little bit and setting this region map number less than 1, so it would blend a little bit more as well. So let's take a look at them together. And here we have the base for the haircut. So now I would go in and add some modifiers and sculpt it a little bit to make the volume here a little better, and to add some noise and to lift some parts here and here, so there would be less intersection. But considering that all the time that I've spent on this project with the recording is around 1 hour, I think it's a quite good result here. So thank you for watching, and if you have any suggestions or questions, please write in the comments below. All right, thank you.